We've reached 8:30, so I want to call the Law and Government public meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, Kath, please?
Van Hoff.
Present.
Sullivan.
Here.
Sager.
Here.
Kunkel. Campbell.
Here.
Shorten.
Here.
Althoff.
Here. Thank you. We've kind of done a little bit of new things here. So with our interview process, we're asking all of those individuals who are candidates for the fire districts to follow Alicia, and she will bring you in. There's been some, in the past, there's been some uncomfortableness about candidates hearing other people's interviews. So we just decided we're taking a little bit of a different tact. So if you would follow Alicia into the conference room, we'll call you in when it's your time to be interviewed. Except for liquor. Liquor can just stay.
Please.
You don't have to go home with
Thank you,
kids,
thank you, thank you. Moving on, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Brian, Mr. Sullivan, seconds the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public comment. Do we have anybody who signed in? I don't believe so, but I will. No one did, so we're all good. What about member comments? Are there any member comments this morning? Ms. Campbell, please.
Just real briefly, because I had gotten rear-ended on 14 at Hebron Road, and just in a free car, trying to turn left. Great job with our sheriff's department as always, and the Harvard Fire Protection District that came. I was actually just talking, I just wanted to say it, I'll say it again at our board meeting, but people need to slow down near an accident. I cannot tell you the number of people who just, I mean, they had to be even going faster than the speed limit passing us. And the guy in the car behind me, all of his airbags had deployed. So we were trying, and we had a Good Samaritan stop. He's a research nurse at Northwestern, and he stopped to assess the situation because he was right there and stayed on the scene until the fire department came. So just people need to slow down and watch those roads, because the person said I was distracted. Because he just, I don't even think he stopped. I don't even think he saw us until he hit us. So, and I don't know if there's a law about that, to slow down when you come upon an accident.
Yes, there is
I
law.
think there is a law.
Yeah, there is.
So anyway.
Trucks too, yeah.
But
yeah. So.
Great job all around from our first responders. So thank you.
And I have a couple this morning too. So, number one, I want to note the DUI graduation is next week. I apologize, I can't remember what date it is, but it's at 5:30, obviously at the courthouse. Is it Monday or Tuesday?
I think it's Tuesday.
Tuesday, which is May 5th, May 5th, May 6th, May 5th. So if you can attend, I find them extraordinarily moving and emotional and pretty inspiring. So if you can attend, that would be great. In addition to that, I want to thank the Fox Waterway, the Sheriff's Department, our Planning and Development, and GIS. They have put a phenomenal map with regard to road closings. It's up to date minute by minute. So because of all the flooding and the road closures, you can actually now go on that website and find out exactly where you can go and detour. So thank you for the extra effort by all of those departments and the coordination in putting that up on our website. I think that's pretty spectacular. And then lastly, just so you know, the meeting with the road commissioners at the township level with regard to the elimination of our dedicated road program, those conversations continue. The county, IDOT, and legislative continue to work with them to see what we can do from both perspectives to try and help them find a way to ensure that all those bridges are actually addressed and can be fixed, right? Brought up to standards. So those things go on. I'll keep you apprised as to what's going, but obviously Chairman Jim Kearns is taking the lead on most of that. We're just seeing if we can help from a legislative perspective. And that's all I've got this morning. So moving on. Oh, Mr. Sager.
Yes, and I apologize, Chair, because I haven't had the chance to really talk to you about this, but I did have a conversation with Chair Bueller, and in my limited time here, I'm going to try to work on two specific things. One, we have been inundated, I guess you would say, with animal rights concerns, and I think that that's most warranted and worthy of our strong consideration. Talk to state's attorneys, folks, and the current thing that we go by is the state statute with regards to animal welfare. It's not very specific, and I have gathered information from the city of Woodstock, the animal welfare ordinances that I actually wrote when I was mayor there, and also, of course, the work that I have done in the past with the Illinois State Fair. So I would appreciate the opportunity to come before this committee at some point to introduce what I have put together, what I will put together as a suggested addition, amendments, new ordinance, whatever it might be in terms of animal rights and welfare. The second thing is I also have an equal concern, and we have received concerns about this regarding gun ranges on personal property. Please, please, please do not misunderstand. I am a gun owner myself. I grew up with guns, and I don't want to impinge upon personal property rights, and I certainly am not impinging upon farm rights or on vermin or anything like that, nor am I impinging upon hunting at all. But I do think that there are some practical, realistic things that we can inscribe that will provide the sheriff's department the opportunity to go in and just say, this is something you can't do. And I'm going to provide the primary example, and that is you can't hang targets in the air, in trees, because that allows the propellant to move beyond their personal property and onto other people's property. And just equally, you can't shoot guns in the air, right? We know that those are the practical things. So I just want to work a bit on those two things. So, and that is with the permission of this body and the chair here as we look at what we can do to make our community safer for individuals as well as people. As well as animals.
And again, I want to make it clear, I think you all know, but Mr. Sagar has been one of the lead entities at the State Fair here all the time dealing with large animals, so that's perfect. I do know that PED is also working on potentially an ordinance with regard to the detailing, so maybe we can coordinate those efforts and run them through both committees so that we can make sure that we're actually addressing the issue. And then I welcome the gun range conversations. We can add that to future topics and make sure that we get updates on that. Moving on then, any other member comments? Seeing none. New business. First item on our agenda is 5.1. I'm going to invite Milena. I did it again. I asked 3 times and I still messed it up. Come on up. Anywhere you want. And owner and operator too. I apologize, I don't have your name, but come on up. You can introduce yourself to all of us. This is a simple interview. If you have any questions, all we're doing here is we already have a liquor license in place. This is just a managerial change. Our process is to always invite the new manager so he can give our stump speech about the responsibility of holding a liquor license and being manager, what that entails. But there's been absolutely no problems with their liquor license in general. So do you want to introduce yourselves and then kind of again explain what's going on? And then if the commission has any questions, they can certainly ask. Committee, sorry. I forget where I'm at. I have too many. So go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Milena Perryman. Taking over more and more of the managerial roles at Creekside. We do currently, or did previously have a manager in place, but she is pulling back on a lot of her duties and she's working other jobs. So in the absence of those duties being performed by her, I've assumed them in her place. So, I don't know if anybody has any specific questions. I'm happy to answer.
Well, first let our owner and operator kind of introduce himself.
Sure, yeah. My name is Tejas Patel. So I've been owning this business for almost 5 years. We just completed 5 years this year, February. So far so good. I mean, all the support from the sheriff, and when we need it, we make the call, like especially non-emergencies. But yeah, we we follow all the rules, especially the minors, ID checks and all. We do have systems like which verify and scan the IDs, and yeah, we generally check everybody's IDs unless somebody we get the people like local and daily. So yeah, we'll follow same thing and continue. And Milena going to be the person for emergency. She'll be local. I live like 30 minutes from the business, but I'll be there also in case sometime needed. But yeah, we'll continue as we are doing for the last 5 years.
And Mr. Patel, I thank you. I think you're all aware that when the owner and operator of the liquor license does not live within McHenry County, the manager is responsible for the emergency contact, which is why actually you're being interviewed today and getting that information. So thank you very much for making the trip down here and actually being here this morning with her. Does anybody have any questions for our new manager and our owner of the facility? Then, Mr. Sagar, you are on tap this morning to give our responsibility. Mr. Sagar was a mayor, as was I, and we give these speeches as we are the liquor license commissioner, each in our individual community. So I always asked Brian to go ahead and give the responsibility speech. So, Mr. Sagar, please.
Well, first, thank you so much for your business in McHenry County, and you know that this facility has been there for a number of years, and now you're the new owner and you're the new manager. And it's important for us to understand that liquor licenses are a privilege, not a right, as you are very much aware. And Mr. Patel, you've already indicated that you take very seriously the prohibition of underage sales. And so I applaud you on that. It is incredibly important to us that we abide by that law and that we uphold that as a part of public safety and welfare, not just for the individual, but for the public at large. And so we consider that to be very important. Another couple of things that are really important in terms of your facility is that obviously you're a general store, if you will, and so you have a number of other products, and you are not providing consumption on premise. And so that's very important that you protect against that. And I know that you haven't had any problems with that, but we have to be sure that nobody is grabbing a bottle and starting to drink on premise or anything like that. So no consumption on premise. And the other thing that's important is for you to understand that hours of sale of alcohol are regulated, and that you need to abide by those hours of sale and make sure that you're not selling after hours. That would be considered a violation. So we know that sometimes things just happen, and you don't intend for them to happen, and we're not really providing you anything that you don't already know. And as a result of your strong emphasis and commitment to upholding these responsibilities, we're pleased to have you as a member of our business community in McHenry County with the sale of alcohol opportunity.
And we are here to help. If there's anything that you're unfamiliar with or you need advice on or as a resource, we are here definitely for your purpose. So I do need a motion to approve the change from the old manager to the new manager. Mr. Sagar makes the motion, seconded by Ms. Van Hoff. I did it again. I almost said Hirsch. Can I have a roll call, please?
Sullivan.
Yes.
Van Hoff.
Yes.
Sagar.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Shorten.
Yes.
Altough.
Yes.
Yes.
Congratulations, you are now fully responsible, and you have, again, welcome. So thank you, Mr. Patel, again, for operating a wonderful business. And if you need anything, we're here. Okay, great. Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, next on our agenda, we are interviewing, Joe, come on in and have a seat. We are interviewing 3 individuals, I believe, for the McHenry Township Fire Protection District. There are 2 vacancies. I want to remind the committee, you did receive a memo from the chairman. According to the new process, he is not interviewing individuals that he feels have served the appropriate entities well and have not served for an extended period of time. So he reappointed, without our input, both William Yocus to the Fox River Grove Fire Department and Greg Danielson to the Crystal Lake Rural Fire Department. So they will be on the agenda. He left this open because there were several applicants, and so he will again accept our recommendation, but I want to remind everybody, it ultimately is the chairman's prerogative to select who it is he feels would best represent McHenry County on those boards. So, Mr. Doherty.
Ready?
Again, kind of give your background a little bit, how long you've actually served, because you are a returning member on the board, and anything else you think would be important, and then I will again open it up for questions from the committee members.
I'm Joe Doherty from the city of McHenry. Going for the, I've been on the trustee for 6 years for the McHenry Fire District. Spent my entire life in McHenry. I have a wife and 2 daughters. They don't live in McHenry, but we do. 14 years I've been at the police dispatch at the city of McHenry. So from 1984 to 1998, I managed the in-house computers and dispatch, whatever they needed me to do. I was appointed to the 911 board while working for Chief Joyce at the city of McHenry, so I was on there when it started. I was a member of the Planning and Zoning Committee for the city of McHenry for 10 years. St. Patrick's, 10 years as a parish council member. And then in like 1998, my life took a different direction, and we opened up Fast Steady's car washes. So that's what I'm doing now. I've been doing that for 28 years. We've got 4 of them. McHenry, Barrington, Crystal Lake, and Huntley, which I think lends to this position with a strong business background. It's kind of fun to do this job. So they're 28 years old now, the car washes. So at the car washes, day-to-day business is hiring, banking, and payroll. You know, so currently I just like to give back a little bit, and here I am. I always had a passion for the EMS services. I saw we got a grant from you up here for an ambulance for $360,000.
Right.
Appreciate that. We always like grants. I don't know, we like to keep the bar raised there too. We like to get the best of everything, and we don't like to pay too much for it. So our employees, we have the best employees, and they get very good wages. So we just, for instance, we are building a Station 6 currently. So Station 6, for the last probably 5 years, we had different locations we bought. 2 locations, one on 31, one on Bow Valley. And the price tag was coming in at $8.3 million to build a new one. And we just looked at it, and then we said, well, we started a cost-cutting committee. And in cost-cutting, we was like, do we want to do that? Do we want to put the taxpayers out for that? And we were like, there's got to be another way to do it. So we looked into retroing in other buildings. So we looked at the Home State Bank in McHenry, which is no longer, and it's in a prime location. But then we put probably 2 architect reviews on that one, and we just like, it wasn't perfect. But we found this ideal building, Ridgeview Electric, on Ridgeview Drive. Precast building, 100-year building. We bought it for $950,000. We're probably gonna put $1 million into it, so it'll be under $2 million versus $8.3 million. So we just saved the taxpayers like $5 million.
And not far from the original location on
Correct.
31, so it's still serving the general area that you had
Exactly.
anticipated immediately in the industrial park area, which I thought was brilliant, just being a
It just
resident.
absolutely worked out perfect. We heard about that one kind of going under, or just quitting the business, I should say.
Yeah, retirement.
And then, yeah, so it worked out great. So win-win. Okay.
And Joe, I'm going to interrupt you here. It was my fault. Can you take 2 seconds and introduce the rest of the Township Fire District who is here, who should also get credit for some of those phenomenal decisions?
Absolutely.
Please.
Our president, Alan Miller, Kurt Rodewald, a trustee with me, Bob Meyer in the back. He's in the other room coming in.
He's in the
right
other room,
after
yeah,
me.
he's going to be interviewed.
Rudy Harvest, our chief. And that's what we got today.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming this morning, too. Appreciate it.
And let's see. All right, where are we at here? Yeah, and Bob, he helps us out on the building committee. He's the next guy coming up. He knows everything about buildings you'd ever want to know. He's been here, you know, through everything. Let's see. Yeah, I pay 7 real estate bills, so I feel for the taxpayer. So every time we spend money, I know where it's coming from. So we're the second busiest department in the county behind Crystal Lake, with 63 full-time and 38 part-time. So we have 140 employees.
And let me point out, Crystal Lake is a city fire department. You are a standalone, not paid on call anymore. You have full-time employees.
Full-time,
right?
yeah. Full-time and part-time. And since 1939, the district has never borrowed money. So we're very proud of that and want to continue that by making good strides like this $5 million savings. Labor, we keep at 75% of the budget. You know, it kind of just stays right there. We're very frugal with the money. We have the third lowest tax base of the 14 departments on that sheet of paper that I gave you, the colorful one. We're currently responding to 1 call per hour, estimated 10,000 calls by 2028. We started up a cadet program, which is working well for our bringing up new, younger kids into the fire service. Joint purchasing, thanks to Mrs. Altoff. She brought that up at one of our meetings, so we are kicking that off and buying with other departments. We're sharing resources.
Great.
You know, calling other departments to say, hey, are you buying this? Can we buy this together with you and save money? So we're doing that. We're doing a training facility out at Allen's old pit, McHenry Sand and Gravel. So we just got that property not too long ago, and that'll be one of the projects we got going. And, you know, we're always looking out for the taxpayer. And the board we currently have works very well together, so if we keep it together, I think that'd be a good thing. Any questions?
Ms. Van Hoff.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here for this lovely, colorful presentation that you gave us. So I just have one comment. When I lived in Hebron years ago and Crown caught on fire, we had fire departments that came from everywhere, and McHenry included. So I just think that, you know, the way all of the other community fire departments come on scene is really something that, it just warmed my heart to see that. So I'm curious, how do you manage something like that in your strategic plan or budget? I mean, what kind of accounting goes into that? Because you guys just showed up. Everybody just showed up here, and it was really truly amazing, and I'm sure it's
Well, appreciate that. Chief, you could probably answer that a little bit better than.
Yes, I'd be glad to. You answer
Okay.
from here?
From there is fine.
Okay. So what you're referring to is we have what we call a mutual aid system. And it's throughout the state of Illinois and actually into other states as well. It's a model for the rest of the country. So all of it is predetermined, laid out in advance. And so the fire that you're speaking of, when they needed additional assistance, it's all predetermined who is going to come in and at what point they would come in. So there's a single radio call to the dispatch center, and then it goes out to those appropriate communities. So the system works very well. The departments train together. We have common standard operating procedures that govern those types of things. We all use the same command system, so when we come together, it doesn't matter whether it's a red fire truck, a green fire truck, or a yellow fire truck, we're all operating from the same page of music. It is through the mutual aid system that every fire department pays a certain amount every year into that based on their size and their budget. And that's what supports, there's equipment that is shared within that system, so not every town has to have it. But that system has been in place since the early 70s, and it works extremely well. And as you said, we come to rely on one another, and it just works tremendous.
Oh, I've always been curious about that, so I'm glad you explained that. Thank you, Chief. But I happened to be living in Hebron at that time, and there were fire trucks coming from all directions, and I was
Probably even from Wisconsin.
I'm sorry?
Probably from Wisconsin.
Wisconsin as well, they were coming from everywhere, and in fact, it was just a horrible fire. People were killed, but I wanted to cover the story, so I got on my bike and rode down there because otherwise I couldn't get through. So I was able to cover that story and, go back home. We didn't have the technology that we do now, but I was able to go back home and send that story into the Northwest Herald through the modem that made that noise. So I'm really dating myself telling you how old I am and the kind of technology that we had, but it was just the effort from all of those fire departments that came to the rescue of Hebron was just amazing. So I'm happy to hear that you have a plan in place and
Absolutely.
you budget for that and everybody knows where to go. It just seemed like everybody just appeared miraculously on site. So thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Doherty specifically? Mr. Sager?
I have some questions and comments here. First off, I think the last time you were here, I asked you why you chose Fast Eddie's instead of Fast Joe's. So, I find that a little...
Okay, well, I'll give you the same answer, probably, because it hasn't changed. All right, so my wife, her grandfather, he worked in a factory, and he didn't want to move, he didn't move too quick. He'd rather go to the racetrack, he'd rather do anything but work. But they called him Fast Eddie because he kind of just did whatever he wanted to do. So thus
the name.
Thus the name.
All right, I think that's a great answer. I'm planning on going to Fast Joe's today or tomorrow. On that. I haven't had my car done since State Fairs. The other thing, Carolyn's your sister, is that right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you. She's a resident.
I have 8 sisters.
Yes. I have a big family. I understand that.
Father, former mayor of McHenry.
Yeah. And I guess one of the questions I have is that you propose that you have the best employees in McHenry County in your department.
Here it comes.
That's a challenge when you're in Woodstock to say something like that.
Okay.
But nonetheless,
I know better next time.
Remember who the chair of the committee is, please.
Okay. I acknowledge the fact that you all have a great employee list, very, very professional, very sound. McHenry has a tremendous reputation as a fire district throughout the area, and so I commend you all on that. The question I have is associated with your employees. They're well paid, I believe, on a relative basis. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me where they fall kind of in the broader perspective of salaries and benefits with other districts?
If you want the perfect answer, we could reach back to the chief again.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Obviously.
So the district we have a 4-year pay plan for all of our employees, part-time, full-time, everyone. And specifically for the full-time employees, we look at what we consider our comparable departments, which includes some departments in McHenry County as well as Lake County. And the board's stated goal is to keep us in the top 60% of those departments. So it's an ever-moving target, if you will, because of the competition among fire departments for what is still in a limited pool of employees. But and having been doing this long, I can confidently say that we offer very competitive salaries and competitive benefits. I think an example of that is we have several of our full-time members that left other full-time positions in other communities to come work in McHenry. Now, I believe there's a lot of other things that go into that, our culture and just many, many factors besides salary and benefits, but hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, and I would agree, there's more than just the salary that goes into that. Do you have a lot of jumping? Do you have challenges maintaining your senior or your tenured, I guess, firefighters and airmen?
Yes, so I'll quickly divide it up into our full-time and our part-time members. With our full-time members, and we just really started hiring full-time members in 2020 is where that really started, and has, for a variety of factors, has really escalated over the last 5-6 years. During that time, we have had a couple of members that have joined the department full-time that did leave to go to other opportunities. 2 years ago, the board approved a 4-year pay plan, and I believe since that time, we have not lost any additional full-time employees. So that has been very stable. On our part-time side, and that is where our most senior members are because of what I mentioned, and we have part-time members at 20, 25, approaching 30 years. Where we start to lose those individuals is not, and I sit down and do an exit interview with every single one of them. Sometimes it's age because we hold to the 65 age requirement. Other times it's just because for the part-time, and it's truly a part-time career, it reaches a point because our department, as was mentioned, we run 22 to 24 calls a day. With their full-time career and their family, it reaches a point where it becomes difficult to stay on the department. So we have had several of those members retire.
Thank you. I asked Joe then, are you working pretty closely with MCC in terms of training system there and trying to bring individuals in from the MCC program?
Yes, we do. And we're starting up our own training facility in McHenry. So we'll be able to not have our guys travel as much going to MCC, so we're going to have it right in McHenry. But yeah, right now we are working closely with them.
And finally, what is if you could identify a major challenge that your department faces, what's the biggest challenge that you have today?
Hiring new people.
Because of the small pool?
Pretty much. Then that's why we started up this cadet program. So the cadets, we'll get them while they're in high school. They can come in, join it. I think we have 12 or 16 of them on there now. And, just slowly they learn the trucks, they learn this. They come in for classes, bring their friends. So that's our new pool is coming from that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you very confidentially to stay right here with me. Nobody else is going to hear this. But you don't have a plan, do you, to, what's the word I'm looking for? Encourage or kidnap or
Poach?
poach, that's a better word. Poach from other departments? Is that a strategy?
No, they do that to us.
Good answer.
It is, it's true, they do.
All right, very good.
They know who the best is. I'm not gonna say anymore.
No one heard that. No one heard that at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
You are welcome to stay and
Okay.
listen to the other interviews and deliberations if you so choose.
I'll take
But
that
as
one.
stated, I want to be very clear about that. We will make a recommendation today from this committee, but the ultimate end choice is the chair's. It's
All right.
his appointment.
Wonderful.
So, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And have we had any other interview candidates walk in since the beginning?
No.
Okay, they're all in? Okay. So the next individual we're interviewing is Robert Meyer. Bob has been on the Township Protection District. We have interviewed him previously. So, and I will ask you before he walks into the room, he notified me he doesn't have his hearing aids, they broke. So please, when you address, if you address questions, elevate your voice a little bit. And if we have to repeat, we'll repeat, but seeing as how I have many friends who have hearing aids, I certainly understand. Good morning, Mr. Meyer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you want to start by giving your extensive experience and background with the Fire Protection District, and then any little personal items that you want, and then we'll just open it up to questions? Please,
Yeah.
you're on tap.
I'm hoping to be reappointed.
Of course.
One more term, and I will end up with 71 years. 29 years Stratford Rescue Squad, 42 with the fire district. So that's.
And Mr. Doherty indicated that you're very,
I remember Brian.
yeah?
A long time ago.
Yep.
And Mr. Doherty explained you're very engaged in the building committee for the new fire station that's being proposed?
Right.
Okay. Want to talk a little bit about that or no? Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Meyer? Mr. Sager?
Bob, if you were to think about the district right now and the greatest need for the district currently, greatest challenge for the district, what is that?
The greatest need. Well, with the increasing number of calls and that we have, I can't say the reducing number of calls, but the tax base is the main concern. And the taxes keep going up. We are very fortunate, we're at the bottom, the lowest rate. And actually we're at 4.9%. And 8,137 calls. It's a lot of calls.
Second question is, what, if you were to look at the next years that you would be serving, what is the primary thing that you would like to see done? What's the project out there that you think needs to be grabbed and pulled in and accomplished within your term?
We're establishing our 6th station in McHenry. And that's the most important thing right now, that we have pretty well maxed that out. We are looking for a training session, a training tower or whatever. And we work very closely with McHenry County College. And that's kind of relieves us some, but anyway, we're looking for our own independent training tower.
Great. Thank you. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I just have a comment.
Sure, please.
Thank you so much for your years of service. You really serve as an inspiration to people. A lot of people come on and will maybe serve for 4 or 5 years. I'm happy to hear that you've been doing this for a number of years and enjoying it, so thank you.
Okay, again, Bob, you are welcome to join the rest of your colleagues over here and listen to the other interviews in our deliberation. if you want to stay, but thank you. You're all good. And it's time to bring in Mr. Nelson. Thanks, Bob.
Please can take a seat right here at this table.
Good morning, Mr. Nelson. How are you?
Awesome.
Good. What we typically, oh, I just broke my glasses. What we typically do here is allow you the opportunity to tell us a little bit about yourself, about your interest in serving on the board, and then any other piece of information you would think the committee would find valuable in making a determination about who to recommend to the chairman. I then open it up to questions from the committee members.
Okay.
So with that, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Michael Nelson, I'm a resident of McHenry, unincorporated for 35 years. I am in the McHenry Township Fire District. I was in the fire service 38 years. I started in 1984, moved my way up to the rank of fire chief, and I was chief for 17 years and retired in 2023, February. My fire district was a small fire district which has now been disbanded. I worked closely with the board. We had a 5-member board. At one time it was 7, they reduced down to 5. We had the same governing as McHenry Township, and after I retired, I thought that I would be able to do something with the district itself since I was a resident of it.
Excellent.
Married, 2 children. My son's on Highland Park Fire Department. He's going to retire in 2 years. And my daughter is a commercial parts manager for AutoZone. And married 37 years.
Excellent. Well, again, we appreciate your interest in volunteering, so thank you for that. Any questions for our candidate? Mr. Sager.
Thank you again for your interest. We appreciate that. Can you tell me, please, what district you served with? Was that a McHenry Township District?
No, Elk Grove Rural Fire Protection District.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Elk Grove Rural Fire.
Elk Grove,
Yes.
okay. And that district no longer exists then?
No, the village of Mount Prospect annexed a significant portion of it, reduced its CAV to almost 0.
Okay.
So it unfortunately had to shut down after 40 plus years.
Mm-hmm. You're not currently on the board.
I am not.
And so as you look into the board situation from kind of another perspective, what do you believe is the greatest challenge that this fire district or other fire districts might have in front of them?
Recruitment and retention.
Okay, and how do you deal with that? How do you solve that?
One of the things that we were doing was trying to reach out to younger college students. We had the ability, because of our district and being in the Harper College district, we started a basic operations firefighter program where we would roster the students with our department. They would be able to go through the training and obtain their basic operations firefighters, so they were more marketable. It was a benefit for us because our department was small, and we would go through a lot of personnel because they would get hired on the larger departments. So that gave us a cachet of people to be able to use and go on to somewhere else.
If you were to look at a young firefighter that's coming out of training basically, or that has been encouraged, what do you think is the most important thing to them? What are they looking for?
Education, security. I think that the biggest thing is for them to, I don't want to use the incorrect word, latch on to, but for them to have a mentor to teach them, and also for them to have educational opportunities, whether they go into a special teams or fire investigation or public education.
So we all know that McHenry Fire District has a great reputation already. They've done a lot of things over the years. As you look forward to the possibility of being on the board and you look at that tenure, what would be the major goal or goals that you would set for yourself and for the board?
To make sure that the district has everything that it needs as far as emerging technology, make sure that they have the best equipment possible. Also to, let me think here. Room for expansion, I would imagine. And make sure that their equipment is, like the vehicles are on a replacement schedule. If they were looking for something that was specialized, that it would be available for them.
One of the things that the county board has had a challenge with, and will continue to have a challenge, and most units of local government do, is increasing costs and our desire to kind of maintain property taxes at a lower or manageable level, if you will. How do you balance those two challenges?
Grants. The government has a lot of grants as far as for manning, for equipment. I think that would be something that I don't know if they do already or not, but something that they should go after.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe.
Any other, no, thank you. Any other questions? I have two real quickly, and I'll let you know, Mr. Nelson, you're welcome to stay and hear our deliberations. I again state that this committee will make a recommendation to the chair, but ultimately it's the chair's decision on who he appoints. That's totally within his prerogative. Have you attended any of the fire protection meetings, the board meetings?
I did last month, but I was unable to this month because I tore my meniscus and.
I did notice the gimp when you walked in.
Sorry.
No.
And I was unable to drive.
Okay. And are you familiar with their strategic plan and their long-term goals?
I did not look that up when I was doing my research on the fire district, but I'm sure it would be something that was similar to what we had when we were on our board.
And that's all I have. And again, you're welcome to stay. We have we have 3 additional interviews for different fire department, but you're welcome to stay and hear the deliberations thereafter. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As per usual, there's always stuff. The next 3 interviews are for the Harvard Fire Protection District. I'm going to throw myself on the grenade. I missed the information. There are now 2 vacancies, not 1. There was a recent passing of one of the board members. I was informed. I missed that information and did not share that with Kathy and or Scott. So I'm going to ask as we go through these interviews, we're going to make a recommendation for the 1 as is on the agenda, but I will ask us to talk about a potential second applicant that we will also provide to the chairman, and he then can make a decision whether he chooses to take our recommendation or make that appointment, if that's okay, Chief?
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be to finish the term
Of Ms. Crane.
Yes.
Mhm.
She had 1 year into her term, so she should have 2 years left.
2 years left. Okay. So if that's okay, we'll do, yes.
So just for some clarification, we have 3 applicants and 2 open positions. Is that
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. And one is to fill the term that would end in 28.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right, so in front of us, morning, Paul.
Morning.
Paul has actually interviewed with us before. He is currently a member of the Harvard board. You know the drill. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about what the board has done, what your personal involvement has been. Any other piece of information you think would be viable for us. We'll open it up for questions from the committee members thereafter.
In July, I'll be retired from the Sheriff's Department for 5 years. So just kind of been picking up some part-time stuff in between. And this would actually be kind of my 2.5 term, I guess. I did one of the same things. Somebody got off the board. I filled in the last year of their term and then interviewed him 3 years ago to fill my own spot back in. We have a really good board put together right at the moment. We're moving things very forward. The department had fallen behind there for a while, and as we all know, there's always money problems with any government entity, whether it's the fire board or the county or whatever, and we were able to pass a referendum basically a year ago for this tax season, which is hopefully going to help us really be able to move forward. We're getting our equipment back up to snuff and kind of moving forward that way. Got a very good relationship with Chief Kimmel, between him being in the Marengo Fire District and part-time for us as well. And he's made great strides in getting us to where we need to be and continuing to move forward.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Sagar?
I don't want to,
You're doing great. You're taking the lead. That's great.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thanks. First off, thank you very much for your continued interest to serve. We're grateful for that. You all have done a great job. I know that you've had some challenges there. If you were to look back and say, okay, this is probably the best accomplishment that I've seen in my tenure, what would that be?
I would say just getting the department turned back around, getting the equipment mostly back up to snuff, putting things back in the station that kind of got eliminated under a previous situation, and being able to move forward. We're all short-staffed, every department is, and we're no different than anybody else in plugging along and being able to plug along and be able to keep the department running.
How many personnel do you have?
I believe we have around 25.
Okay. And full-time, part-time, combination?
They're all paid on premise, basically. Okay. They fill in a shift and take their turn.
Okay. And if you were to say, from your personal perspective, not from the collective board perspective, but from your personal perspective, what do you believe should be the top priority that you would actually stand up and pound the table a little bit with the rest of the board members and say, this is what we've got to do next. This is next.
Well, we're really looking at, obviously we got to wait and see exactly what our dollar figure is after the passing of the referendum. And the intent is to be able to put one full-time staff member in the station at all times. And that's what we really need to move forward.
Okay.
We struggled to fill our staffing consistently. So we need to try to get ourselves to a point that we can put somebody in there full-time. And we're looking to increase our on-premise numbers from 3 to 4 to be in there consistently.
So personnel and the permanency of personnel is a really important.
If we want to continue to function, yes, we got to have personnel, and you got to have personnel in the station.
Absolutely. So do you work with MCC students and trying to bring them on board and internships or anything like that?
We have chief and deputy chiefs and stuff have absolutely, they've been in the schools trying to talk to people that are moving into this career hopefully and be able to get and work with them as well.
If you were to identify the, I hate to say it this way, but I'm just gonna say it, the ugliest challenge that you all have, the most difficult thing that you have to wrestle with, you do at almost every board meeting, what would that be?
We don't really wrestle with anything at a board meeting. I mean, it really goes back to staffing all the time. It's always about staffing and maintaining and trying to maintain those 3 people in there. As a department, we can't always get a paramedic in there all the time, and we have to outsource to Northwest Rescue to make sure that we have a paramedic in-house 24.
Okay, so you have a subcontract with them then?
Yes.
Okay. And how often do you have to rely upon that?
Far less now than we used to. We've done a pretty good job of being able to bring people in. You know, again, we're not a full-time department, so it's difficult to get people to come and stay.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
And I did the same thing with you that I did with McHenry. Is there anyone in the audience that you would like to recognize from Harvard that is here?
Chief,
I know, I didn't recognize you because you came in a little bit late, so I just wanted everybody to know that Chief Kill is here too.
He's doing a fantastic job, being able to split his time between Marengo. Everybody I've talked to from Marengo is very happy with the arrangement that we've had. We worry about that as a board too, that we're not interfering with what's going on in Marengo.
Ms. Campbell and then Ms. Van Hoff.
So this did bring up kind of a question for me, because you said you were trying to get at least 1 full-time person in, right? That, or a goal is to start building that a little bit. So I guess my question becomes, a full-timer would then have access to health care and benefits. So where does that come from with the individual departments being small and having to take on that responsibility? I guess, you know, larger, you know, it takes, when you have health coverage or something like that, it's really hard for a smaller agency. So do you couple that with Marengo, and how does?
Some of that is exactly what becomes some of the holdup and why it's taking so long to get ourselves to be able to do that is, you know, there's not a lot of funding there.
Right.
But we're trying to make ourselves work the money so that we can start bringing people in and be able to do that. Sometimes there's conglomerates that you can get into where you can buy into a bigger program elsewhere and move forward. You know, we as a whole, we allow the chief to figure out how he's gonna make that work with the money that we have on the table.
Ms. Van Hoff?
Yes, thank you for being here. My question, actually, I was thinking about the same thing that Member Campbell mentioned, and I was just going to ask you, what do you think the largest challenge is in attracting employees? Is it the fact that there are no benefits? Is it the culture? Is it the pay? What is the biggest deterrent for attracting? You know, and because it's basically part-time.
It is part-time, and that's exactly right. And it is, some of it's pay, some of it's, the majority of these people want a full-time career, or they wouldn't be doing it. There's too much training, there's too much maintaining training and things like that, that people aren't coming to the smaller departments to work full-time. You've got a lot of full-time departments won't allow you to double dip either.
Right.
So even though we've got some people that have taken other jobs elsewhere and they still may be around town, but they've left and their department doesn't allow them to work at another department.
Yeah, they have similar rules like that in long-term care. If you're working at one, say, nursing home, they full-time. They may not want you to work over there. It comes up in things like workers' comp, you know, you got
Right.
injured, where's it
Exactly.
happen? you know?
And it's true. You know, 20 years ago, people would work in town, they volunteered, maybe they did do the paid on premise, paid on call thing, but they were dedicated to the town. Today it's, people are looking for full-time jobs, departments are hiring pretty easily, so it's difficult. And some of those people even leave town because they've taken a job elsewhere.
So considering that, then I would think your focus would be, and I know you're doing that, Chief Kimball, you're looking at younger people who are, you know, they're looking for a job. And a part-time job may suit them very well, and it can also serve as a training ground for them. So that's the only deterrent.
Which is what frequently happens.
That's right.
Become a training ground,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
And the problem is it's not like going to the gas station and getting a job behind the counter either. You know, they spend a couple hours training you and turn you loose.
Right.
Where here, you're years into training to really get where you can work the job.
So to attract more people, you probably would need to be then looking at generating more income, the granting or whatever is
Yes.
available, so that you can pay people to be full-time.
Correct.
And again, I think that was clear during the promotion of a referendum, which had failed, and then when there was more explanation about the needs, passed successfully. So
Yeah.
I do believe that there's a better communication also from the fire district to the community about your needs and where you need to go.
Correct. Agreed.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna point out, I love you all, but I'm gonna point out we're 20 minutes behind. So, I
I'm
mean,
done.
let's not make these people sit here forever. Mr. Sager.
I was just gonna say, okay, you're sitting here in front of people from McHenry, they've got 63 full-time people, what do you want to say to them? That's facetious.
Yes.
And Chief, no, you're not gonna say, okay. Paul, you're welcome to stay and hear our deliberations if you wanna do that. I just remind you that we make a recommendation to the chair, but it's ultimately the chair's decision on who he chooses to appoint to the board.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
All right, thank you. I have some family problems I need to take care of, so I am gonna scoot, but thank you.
We'll let you know. Thank you, sir. Hey, Joel.
Hi again.
You're familiar with this process.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Again, the interest in the fire district, anything you think that we know. I'll open it up to the committee members for questioning. You can stay afterwards to hear the deliberation if you so choose. My comment all the time is, we make a recommendation to the chair. It's the chair's prerogative who he chooses to appoint. Okay? You're on.
All right, my name is Joel Brouillette. I've been here for, I've been coming to these for, I don't know, 4 years maybe now, trying to get, become a member of the Fire Department Trustee Committee. Haven't been chosen yet, but still pursuing. I come from a fire department background. My grandpa was a fireman, my uncle was a fireman, my mom was a fireman, my dad was a fireman. So I just joined when I was 18. I joined the Nunda Fire Department outside of, between McHenry and Crystal Lake, little teeny, I think it's 4 square miles, maybe. It's very, very small. But I liked it there. It was a good place to start when I was 18. Learned a lot, got a whopping $5 a call, I think it was, but that was just to pay for your clothes that you were probably gonna wreck, which we all did. I stayed there for about 17 years, moved up to about captain. From there I went to Crystal Lake for about another 7-8 years, stayed there, and I left there when they became union. And I was also living in Harvard at that time. I moved from Crystal Lake to Harvard. So it was a difficult travel back and forth. I was gonna join Harvard. I actually went there for 1 day, and I didn't join, but I always did miss it, still miss it today. So I'm trying to apply to be a trustee again. I full-time job, I actually work for Southern Company Gas, which owns Nicor Gas. I've been there for about 35 years. Done about every job they have there. Right now, my current role is, I'm not sure exactly what it is, in the client compliance department. So I'm kind of liaison between the Nicor and the Illinois Commerce Commission. So I basically entertain them when they come out and visit so that they don't give us fines that are too big, basically. So I try to control that if I can. Can't control everything. Probably gonna stay in that position until I retire in the next couple of years. I don't know. It's a pretty good job, so I don't know if I'm gonna, I could retire anytime, basically, so. For the fire department trustee, some of the things I might wanna bring there, been kind of paying attention to it for like the last 10 years or so. It's got a little bit better, but there's still some things that I think need to be improved or could be improved, and maybe they are in the last year. As far as like community relations, I think I do a lot with the gas company on community relations. I just did it last month, Woodstock I was there, and I think Huntley was there. It was at the college, 8th grade career days, I believe they called it, where all the 8th graders come from around the county and they go there and they see what kind of jobs maybe are open for them in the future. And I saw a couple fire departments there. I didn't see Harvard there. I thought that would have been nice if they were there. As the gas company, not many kids are interested in working at the gas company, but they're all definitely interested in being on the fire department because that's like something all the kids are interested in. So it was kind of neat to see the ones that were there. I just thought that maybe there should have been more. Have lived in Harvard now for a while. I don't see, I see the fire trucks go through the parade, but I don't see them come back later. We just hand out pamphlets. Hey, are you interested? Or you want to join? I know from being on Crystal Lake and being on Nunda, it's a struggle. It's a real struggle to get people to join, and hard to keep them because they always skip out and go to Lake County somewhere for better pay or whatever. So I know that's a challenge, but there's a lot of people in Harvard. A lot of people like myself moved to Harvard because it's cheaper, and they're still there. They stay there because it's a cheaper place to live. Crystal Lake's too expensive. Woodstock's coming too expensive. Huntley's expensive. So Harvard is pretty reasonable place to live. So I think the people there stay there, and I think it would be easy to get those people on if you just approached them the right way through open houses. I'm thinking of food pantries. I mean, those people have a lot of free time, obviously, so they're maybe not working, so maybe you go to the food pantry, help out at the food pantry, say, hey, we're looking for people, Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout myself, so I think that that's a great place to start. There's a fire department merit badge, entertain that, get people in the door. Maybe they like it, maybe they won't. But people like myself, when I was 18, I was so excited to join. I would have done anything to join. I was the station Dalmatian back in the day. I didn't leave, I was there every day. So I liked it. I just think that, I would be good for that person, for that PR to bring people in, if I was allowed to help with that as a trustee.
Questions from committee members? Mr. Sauger.
Thanks so much, Joel. I think you've identified a primary concern, and that is getting people into the door and getting them excited about serving. So I appreciate that very much, and you've come up with some good ideas there. If you think about yourself and your ability to contribute to the board, be a member of a body that has the oversight, what are the top two challenges aside from personnel? The next couple of things that are at the top of the list.
Money, that's a
Okay.
big one.
Mm-hmm.
Grants, you want me to expound on that a little bit, or?
If you have ideas, sure.
Yeah, I think grants are huge. I used to research grants a lot. I did it for departments I was on. A lot of grants out there. I can't remember the number anymore, but I think it was 2 years ago, the state gave away like $300,000, maybe it was $3 billion, I don't remember the number anymore, in grants. And I looked at who got them all, and I was like, there's not a lot in McHenry County that got them. Maybe we have too much money. I don't know how that actually works, but there's a lot of grants out there, and I know that FEMA gives out grants. the state does, but Boone County got like 60-some grand for a grant. They were able to get it. They got, I think, a brand new truck with that, or a good deposit down on one. So that would be something to shoot for. Honestly, I'm not a fan of raising people's taxes. Harvard's a community where everybody's older and don't like that kind of stuff. You're not gonna come in there and raise somebody's taxes that's on a fixed income. So I mean, you're gonna have to come up with other options to do that. That's always the last resort, but I'm not a fan of it. I just don't think people like that. It's like the school district, nobody wants to give any more to the school, nobody wants to give any more to the fire department. So there has to be other options out there to get money in. I personally did some grant work, so I'm kind of familiar with that. I know they change all the time. That would be a big one for me. But at the same time, you need to get, I don't know how many people they have in there now. 4 probably is ideal. You got 2 firemen, 2 paramedics, 2 in the fire truck, 2 in the ambulance that can go out to all calls. That would be ideal. If I'm trying to say if the money is there for that. I don't know the budget. I don't know what's available. I think they run 1,000 calls a year, 1,200 calls a year. I'm not even sure anymore.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Joe. Again, you're welcome to remain while we deliberate. If you leave, we certainly will share the end results.
Go back there, go over there.
You can sit in the audience.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And for clarification, thank you, Kathy. The term that we are actually filling officially on the agenda is one that would end on April 30th, 2029, 3 years. Amy Crane's term to complete that is actually through April 30th, 2027. I misspoke and said 28. It's the 27.
So, 1 year.
1 year, basically, yes. Thank you, Kath.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Brian Knop. This is the procedure. I think you're somewhat familiar, having probably watched us very closely, being an employee. What we do is give you an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about your interest in serving, why, any other pieces of information you think are viable and important for this committee to know. I then open it up to the committee members to ask you any questions that they want. Sure. We are a little bit behind, and I'm having people sit here for a really long time, so I'm going to ask you to be clear, concise, and pointed, if you will, for me, please. Brian.
Well, thank you. Again, my name is Brian. I've been married to Amy for 21 years. We got 3 kids together. Been at my current job 29 years as an IT guy. Everybody loves the IT guy. I lived in Harvard community.
Do we really?
When things are working, yes.
When you need a password reset. Lived in Harvard my entire life. I raised a family in the community. I was on Harvard Fire and Harvard Rescue for nearly 20 years, back before Harvard Rescue and Harvard Fire were even merged together, and now they are. But I had to take a step back then to live family life and to raise a family, and got busy with the kids. And now the kids are grown, and I have a junior and a senior in high school. They're living their best life, and both of them are getting ready to go off to college to play softball. So now I have a lot more time on my hands to give back to the community and the fire district. So.
Questions? Mr. Sauger.
Keep going, you're doing great.
First, Brian, I have to tell you that Amy is one of my absolute favorite people in the world. So.
Absolutely.
Mine too.
Yeah. But,
outside of my children.
Known her for many, many years, and she is truly phenomenal and incredible asset.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, please give her my best regards.
I will.
Thank you. The other thing I would say is you have an interest in serving on the Productions Board as kind of a person who's watched things from the outside. and you consider the community at large, what is the greatest need? What do you see as the primary need that the board needs to focus on?
Well, the common answer and the easy answer always is staffing. But with the recent passing of the referendum in 2025, that was huge for the district. The district's in need. With that increased revenue, I mean, that's going to increase the budget 15%. And with that, the board has already approved the purchase of a new engine, which is certainly needed. But again, the delivery of a new engine is 2 years out. And but also with that revenue, they are able to increase staffing. And they're looking to increase, I've been attending the meetings, so I've seen what's going on. And the board they are doing an amazing job with you know, their current environment. But they're looking to increase a fourth person on shift to handle the calls within the community. Right now, there is a lot of you know, callbacks from other agencies, their surrounding agencies. So with that additional staffing, that's going to be wonderful for the district. So everything costs money, but the passing of that referendum was huge. That's great.
Thank you. What's your perspective, just you, Brian Knop, what do you see is the relationship between the district and the community at large? Just the people on the street.
You know, that's a good question. I grew up in the community. The community has changed a lot from when I've grown up. But it's always, it's getting yourself out there. You know, we have Harvard Milk Day. There's always a big presence from the fire department and the district at that event, and it's been one of the longest going events in the county. But it's
actually.
Yeah, isn't that something? So I've seen a lot of it, but it's staying active with the community. It's staying active with because the dynamics of the community has changed a lot as well. So you have to adjust to that.
Last question from me, and that is, what do you believe you as an individual, your gifts and talents, what can you contribute as a board member?
Well, the easy one's being an IT guy. So technology, I've been there 29 years. I've also involved with the ETSB, and the district uses all of the same systems with the ETSB. So I'm very familiar with all the systems and the systems that are available that they may not be utilizing. Then I can bring that to the table. Hardware, maintaining hardware, giving insight on hardware. Technology is so fluid, it's fast moving. So, that's one of the strengths I believe I can bring to the district. Another one is, you know, again, I was a member there for 20 years. I know still a lot of people that are there, and I know kind of the background of what the department's goals could be, or you know, because they always should have goals and just try to get the new levels. And so I believe just being a long-term resident of the community is going to be a great benefit.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else? Ms. Campbell?
No, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. You talked about you're the tech chairman for ETSB.
That's right.
Okay. And then you also mentioned in here, and I'm trying to find it now, Critical Incident Memorial Team.
That is something I'm very passionate about. So sadly, with the sheriff's office, we have lost 2 deputies in the line of duty. And so I got involved with the Critical Incident Memorial Team with Illinois Cops because of that. And what Illinois Cops does is it's the Illinois Concerns of Police Survivors. And when there's an incident, and lately it's not always been line of duty, but when there's an incident line of duty, the Critical Incident Memorial Team, we have members throughout the state. And we will come and assist that agency with planning a line of duty death funeral, because that agency is very impacted and they're very overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. So sadly, with our experience, we'll come in and guide them through the process. So we will do the planning of the funeral, we'll do the planning of the venue, because you often have many, many officers from out the state that respond to that. And we as a team we want to honor that person how they deserve to be honored. And so that's what we do, and we come in and assist the agency, and it's been wonderful. And again, it's something that is very near and dear to my heart, and I will continue to do that well after retirement. So.
Thanks for explaining that.
Brian, you mentioned in your application that members of the board approached you about applying for this particular position. So I'm going to make an assumption, but I want you to confirm it. I'm assuming then that you've attended some of the board meetings and you're familiar with the long-term plan and the strategic plan of the department?
That's right. I have attended meetings, you know, and I have to say, Trustee Hildreth that is up for reassignment, he's amazing. He's done very, very good things for the board. But sadly, one of the board members has passed away. So I feel I would be a good candidate for that open position. Yeah, I would like to fill that vacancy.
And I'm assuming also that even with all of your other interests and all of your other commitments, you understand this is a big commitment and you will actually show up for all the meetings and you will be there to assist Harvard move forward, because you have done, Harvard has done a remarkable job. And it was Amy who came to this committee and said, oh my goodness. And there's been a tremendous effort and change over the past 5 years of what has happened there. So I'm assuming you're on board and you would continue that momentum.
Now, you know, and I'm just there to observe, so absolutely.
I appreciate that.
I just have one question. So with your IT experience, which I love IT guys because, you know, I have some challenges, I admit, with some of the things that I have to do on the computer, and sometimes it just seems like the computer is working against me. I mean, it seems like they're scheming to try to trip me up, right? So if you are appointed, how do you see that you can immediately use your skills to benefit the department?
Sure. Well, security is always a concern, you know, because cybersecurity it's a buzzword, you know, and it's a real thing. So one of the things that I could bring to the table immediately is make sure that security is there, security is in place. But you also have to find that fine line between being secure and being able to use it.
Right.
That you can't lock it down to the point that it's not usable. So, and that is what I have learned in 29 years is you have to be able to, it's got to be usable. I mean, that is one of the things, bringing security to it, but also the usability. It's just that sweet spot of cybersecurity and security as a whole as far as technology.
Well, thank you for mentioning that, because working with a lot of government sites throughout my career, that is the one thing that they all have in common. They're not very user-friendly.
Right.
And
that's another thing I bring to the chair being to the ETSB, being on the chair of the technical committee. You've got to have that fine line. You've got to be secure. I mean, we all know that. And none of us want to get hacked, and none of us want to, have an attack. So it's just finding that fine line.
okay, thank you.
You are welcome to stay for deliberations,
Okay.
which will happen right now. So thank you very much for being here and for the interview process.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, the first point of, the next point on our agenda is the deliberation for 2 vacancies on the McHenry Fire Protection District, and those terms will expire on April 30th, 2029. Mr. Siren.
I will raise a question. chair whether or not it is appropriate for us to go into executive session to have some discussions.
I can't answer that.
Whether or not we can have executive session.
Yeah.
Don't we have to have that scheduled, or no?
No.
I'm just asking.
It just says executive session is necessary, so.
Yeah, as necessary, it's always on the agenda. I know it's asking because it's personnel, but and we don't have anybody here from the state's attorney's office, so I'll look at you and ask what's your opinion and what do you feel?
My gut instinct is no, but I'd much rather put it to the state's attorney's office. Perhaps we can take a 5-minute recess or maybe move to a different part of the agenda.
In the essence of time, I firmly believe that commissions, committees have the right to go into executive session under our rules as well as under state law, because we are a public body and we have that right to go into executive session. One of the most upheld purpose for going into executive session is personnel. These individuals are certainly personnel as they are associated with their district and the county itself. This committee, which has the authority to recommend members. So I truly believe that it's appropriate. And so I think at this stage, it's just a matter of this body making a determination.
I would feel more comfortable if we followed Alicia's recommendation. I know we're pressed for time, but if we could have a brief 5-minute recess and.
I'm not going to take a recess. We can move on to another agenda, but I've got a hard stop at 10:30 and we still have lots to do. So I'm gonna take that recommendation, Mr. Sagar, if that's okay with you. Can you take 5 minutes and make that phone call and try and get direction for us?
That's what I mean. That's what I meant.
Yeah, in the interim, I want to move on though to our legislative update because we've got Shaylin Daigle here and Alicia has some stuff. It's the end of session. There's a little bit more. So if it's okay, I apologize to all of you. We're going to get some clarification here, but we'll move on to our legislative update.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
No, I concur. I would feel more comfortable too, although I know that Brian's smarter than I am when it comes to parliamentary procedure. I believe that, I do, but I would feel more comfortable for the audience to have that background. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. I know you had some conversation with the governor's office and others with regard to the bill. Do you want to start there or do you want to start somewhere else?
Sure, no, let's start, that's my.
So the committee is familiar with what we're talking about. This is the build legislation, the proposal that again takes away authority from both municipalities as well as counties with regard to zoning for residential development. So Shaylin, give us an update and let us know. We'll let you know what happens. We'll call. Yay. So go ahead, please.
Sure, so there's been a couple of things that have happened since our last meeting when I gave an update. The Senate Executive Committee met last Thursday and had about a 3-hour conversation about build, and they brought in proponents and opponents of the bill to talk about it. There was a lot of witness slips filed for and against the bill. Of course, we rallied the municipalities and the local governments to oppose the bill. And I just want to be clear that we're not opposed to housing in general. We're just opposed to the bill as it's currently written, and we're hoping that there's going to be some modifications to the bills before the end of session. With that, there was also a meeting with McHenry County legislators and mayors from around Lake County, Kane County on Friday that was a good opportunity for us to provide feedback to our McHenry County legislators, and also to hear what other counties are thinking as well. There was a lot of mayors from Lake County, Northwest Cook, Kane County, so that was nice to be able to share some feedback with them as well. We still continue to work with the governor's office. They sent a few fact sheets over yesterday that didn't ease really any of my concerns with the bill, unfortunately. But we're hoping that they're understanding what our concerns are.
And can you identify what those concerns specifically are?
The number one being local control and municipalities losing local control for housing in their communities. We all want housing, we all want diverse housing, but the ability to not choose how, when, and where we plan for the communities is a big concern of our municipalities. Impact fees are another big concern, lot sizes, stormwater runoff, environmental. Also at Friday at the meeting that we had was a lot of environmental agencies that talked about some of the issues that they were going to be seeing with the lack of open space, stormwater runoff, things like that.
Any questions specifically, Mr. Seibel?
Just a comment. I think that we all have to understand that zoning is one of the top priorities, aside from safety itself. Zoning is one of the absolute top priorities for local units of government. And so for the state to kind of withdraw the opportunity for us to have local control over zoning with regards to housing and residential development is a huge, huge, huge concern. And the question is always, what's next? What's next?
And I'm going to look at you and tell you too, does anybody ever talk about, again, the relationship between local governments and their constituents? Because that's the drawback. I mean, I understand our feelings about the loss of control, but it's really the communication and the relationships between the local elected officials and the people that they are elected to represent, and the disconnect when they no longer have the authority to make local decisions that affect the very people that they're representing. Does that get conveyed?
That is being talked about a lot, and mayors are, trying to educate the public on what this means, and they're like, oh, well, we'd like more housing, but then when they hear that there's, how the hands would be tied of the municipalities, then they get very concerned. So
does the governor's office understand that?
We're trying to explain that to them.
Okay, but they're not admitting that they do see that connection whatsoever?
Not that I have heard.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Short?
Can I get a copy of the fact sheet?
Absolutely, I will email that.
I would ask, what I would ask you to do is give it to Kathy, and
Yes.
Kathy can disseminate it to the whole board, if that's okay.
And then also, I think the last time you came before us, you mentioned there was a red line version that had been presented.
Yes.
That go anywhere, or is it just?
We have not heard any comments back from our red line version.
Can I get a copy of that also?
Absolutely.
Part of the issue also is that the proposal is utilizing CMAP as a justification, and we just had our major study done with CMAP's assistance. So my comment is that many entities are voluntarily addressing the affordable housing issue. We don't need another mandate from the state, which again is another reason that fire departments are having issues, because now we're mandated to have an ambulance with every, of the fire trucks with every ambulance call. I mean, it requires manpower. The mandates are becoming, financially intolerable. They really are. I mean, we just can't afford to keep making those adjustments based on state. So anything else that you want to give us from COG, or anything else that's going on at the end? Alicia obviously is not here, so.
Since she's not here, I'll just.
Well, no, she's on the phone, hopefully.
I just want to touch on solar.
Please.
That is still an issue that McHenry is working on. The Senate bill that we had brought forth with the help of the IML did not move forward this session, and it doesn't look like it's going to be moving forward. We thought that it might. So we're still working on trying to get something included this year, or this session, to allow municipalities, again, zoning authority for solar. And so that's something that we're continuing to work on. LGDF, obviously that is always something that we work on. We just recently did a multi-cog letter telling them that we do not want a decrease of LGDF. Again, it is currently at 6.47, and the governor's proposal is to take it down to 6.28. That's not acceptable.
And are we doing any effort to compile, as nicely as McHenry Township Fire Protection did, to compile data that shows the additional cost to municipalities and counties for unfunded mandates, like solar, like the housing, like everything else that, I'll give you a whole list of them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, how much more money is being spent to meet the requirements given to us by the state, and they, on the other hand, continue to withdraw funds to make us able to make those adjustments in our budgets. I mean, it's impossible. We lose money here and they give us more requirements for more expenditures. I don't know how we're ever gonna maintain that. So I would see if there isn't some,
Yeah, I
you know,
will
real
look into that.
data points that you could present to the governor's office and say, this is exactly what you're doing, is squeezing. So, Mr. Sager.
Another thing that I think has been pointed out in the hearings and the commentary has been that this is an approach to kind of rubber stamp everything and say that everything has the same guidelines. You know, it's all the same across the state and across all municipalities and counties. It doesn't work that way, right? I mean, we all know that we have unique circumstances and we need to consider things in terms of the local circumstance, local environment, the local impactors. And this bill kind of just ignores that total element.
Right.
So it's very concerning.
So just for clarification, please. So you said IML was pushing forward a bill to kind of adjust the solar?
The solar requirements.
And what was the number on that one?
It was Senate Bill 3450, but that didn't move forward. So
It didn't leave the Senate, so there's no time left for it to be
Okay.
considered in the House.
And then we did think that it might be included somewhere else, but
No.
the Senator Kaler didn't seem to think that that was going to be possible.
And that's a decent sponsor. Senator Kaler's been a strong leader in the Senate, and so if he couldn't get it moving, that's a message.
The thing is, though, that strange, mystical things happen at the end of session.
That's true. It's always true. It's always true. I would ask, I mean, I'm assuming that Senator Kaler has been talking to the solar associations as well, which would be the biggest opponents to any kind of changes to what currently exists. And I know he's got, you know, long-term relationships with them as well, so I'm going to assume he has been speaking to them.
I would assume so. Another, may I have one more thing that we're watching is Tier 2 pension. That is something I don't think it's going to go in May, but it's something that we're very concerned about veto session. So we'll be working on that. If it doesn't go this spring, which I don't think it will, then we will really be working on that over the summer.
And that again is an increase in benefits for Tier 2 people with the Social Security discrepancy. Yeah. Any other questions for Shaylin while she's up here with regard to, does anybody, Alicia did a nice legislative update report. Does anybody have any specific questions on anything that was included? I mean, I thought she did a great job. And although McHenry County and many of the McHenry County municipalities did extraordinarily well with monies that were allocated back from the feds, grant programs, as well as earmarked monies, the next challenge will be is to ensure that the money is actually received by McHenry County. You know how that goes too. They budget, they allocate, they appropriate, we never see it. So that'll be a challenge for all of us as well. So thank you, Shaylin, I really appreciate it. Moving on, routine consent agenda. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take a motion and a second on this and then invite Sandra Salgado. Motion by Ms. Campbell, seconded by Mr. Shorten to approve 7.1. Ms. Salgado has an update, so we're in your hands if you want to provide us.
Do you want to vote on this first? My update is not in regards to this.
It is not. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on 7.1?
No, just a comment. Thank you for the upper cap of 147,000 in the description, because I always like to know what that is, so I really appreciate that.
I do
don't know if it's about,
yeah,
I don't know if it matters if it's in the resolution itself. It doesn't matter.
It does for us. It's information.
It's just, so wherever you want to put it, but the fact that it's there, I appreciate it. So thank you.
Any other questions on 7.1? Can we have a roll call, Kat?
Campbell.
Yes.
Sager.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Van Hoff.
Yes.
Shorten.
Yes.
Altough.
Yes. Update.
Great.
Report.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'll go very quick. I wanted to bring this before you because we run into a timing issue with committees a lot. We went out to bid for the kitchen floor in the jail, and we received those bids back. We just did our evaluation. We're very comfortable on which vendor we're gonna move forward with. Right now, we're trying to figure out the food situation. As you may be aware, we are required to provide at least one hot meal to the inmates per day. This is at least a 15-day project, and we've got a lot of expensive solutions on the table. I'm hoping by the end of this week to know if we're gonna use Lake County's kitchen and transport food, or we have a couple local vendors that are willing to give it a shot for us. Specifically 3 chefs out of Cary, which is interesting. Only concern there is they're gonna provide really good food, so when it's time to go back to regular food, there's gonna be some upset inmates, but.
And you know 3 Chefs is who caters for all of our events for the employees as well, yeah.
They pay for a lot.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a big feat for them. That's 350 inmates 3 times a day, so that's a lot of meals to provide. So I'm giving you this update because we would like to bring this forward to the Finance Committee and get it on the May agenda, just so we can start negotiating a timeline, because there's a lot of moving parts on that. We have to close the kitchen, we have to close the ODR, the officer dining room to get this done. And we're working with facilities and IT.
So she's looking for a consensus from us to go ahead and put it on the May finance agenda. I think you're getting a yes, so thank you very much. Right forward. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for waiting.
There are no presentations, there is no old business, we have no reports, there is no executive session. The consensus has been that the statute really does not permit any public body to kind of go into executive session for appointments to other commissions. So even though we didn't get that from the state's attorney, that was kind of the opinion from our staff administration. I am uncomfortable with that gray analysis to go forward. So we'll have the deliberation. So we'll go back to 5.8 and deliberate for the McHenry Fire Protection District. We need 2 applicants with terms that will expire April 30th, 2029. I'll remind everybody that Mr. Doherty and Mr. Meyer already are currently on the Fire Protection Board. Mr. Nelson is applying for one of those vacancies, and I'll have anybody start the conversation about how they feel, what they would recommend, etc. Mr. Sullivan.
I think they're all great candidates. Of course, these 2 gentlemen are already on. I'd pick those 2 gentlemen.
Any other comments, recommendations? Mr. Sager?
Yeah, Frank, I heard that Mr. Meyer, who's been on the board for a long time, he's interested in 1 more term. I understand that. I wrestle with the fact that we need to bring new people in, you know, for the opportunity to contribute, I guess. And I understand that there's a time for all of us to kind of step back. But I appreciate the tenure, and I appreciate the strong support that Bob Meyer has provided. So, you know, it's a tough one. We have to think about those things, I think. Sounds like we have a very strong candidate in Mr. Nelson. And so the question is, does he have enough commitment that he would apply later on, et cetera? So I think those are things that we have to kind of consider.
I agree. I'm going to, because I have you in the audience, it really is incumbent upon us to start to really evaluate exactly what Mr. Sager has stated. We need to ensure that we have new volunteers coming on while we still have the expertise from older individuals. You heard one of the candidates indicate what people look for as mentorship. That's true whether you're an employee or whether you serve on a board. It is crucial, and I'm looking at all of you, it is crucial that you recognize that we need to have a bench. We need to take people, and we cannot have individuals stay on for 25 years. We need to ensure we have enough of a rotation that we are bringing new people on who can carry on the work that all of these volunteers have put their hearts and souls into to bring us to where we are today. So I just, you know, I mean, just looking at you, keep that in the back of your minds and think about that as we all move forward and we work together, because again, we have all this expertise and we lose all these people at the same time. And you just heard today, we just lost Ms. Crane, who was instrumental in bringing forward what Harvard was going through so that we could all work together to solve the problem. Who would have ever anticipated that she wouldn't be here today? So we really need to make sure that our bench is there and that we're bringing on new volunteers. Plus, I feel very, I feel very passionate and candid when I say this to you, is that it's also distressing for individuals to come forward and volunteer and continually get told no. It does not send the appropriate message, I think, from us to the community that we're really serious about asking for volunteers. So just keep all of those things in the back of your mind. I'm going to take that as somewhat of a consensus. And Mr. Sullivan, was that a motion to reappoint, or Ms. Campbell, do you have another comment?
I don't know, I guess I do have the issue, we've talked about this before in terms of longevity and allowing more people to come on the board over time. And so I do think that is something that we've tried to address. And I know that we've had situations where somebody's been on, an opening comes up and the chair has decided he's gonna go ahead and reappoint them because we don't wanna lose that knowledge either. So anyway.
Is the body willing to visit with the chief? Or the...
You mean bring them up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's certainly, we've done that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly something that we can do. I leave that to the committee. That is not my decision, that's our decision. Ms. Van Hoff.
Well, I would like to make a suggestion. Scott had this routine of going to the board and putting the candidate's name there and each of us weighing in on them.
Did he pay you to say use the whiteboard?
Yeah, really, I don't,
right.
yeah, no.
How do you feel about that? Because I think that...
Can we focus, before we do that, can we focus on whether or not we want to take on Brian's suggestion and invite Chief Porth to come up?
Yeah.
I don't think there's...
Is that okay?
I agree with that.
Is that all right?
Yeah, sure.
Chief, can you come forward, please? Specific question, Mr. Sagar, that you would like to pose?
Yeah, Chief, thanks. I appreciate it. And I don't want to put you in a hot spot here, but I'd just like for you to discuss from your perspective how the board as a body is working today and what your position is in terms of the opportunity, if you will, to bring somebody else on. So just broadly, I'm not asking you to get yourself into.
Certainly, and I appreciate it. And I'll preface my comments with, obviously, any fire chief, our responsibility is to, whoever the 5 appointed trustees are, whoever they are, our responsibility is to work with them, and obviously there are bosses and that type of thing. And so, but having said that, specifically to your comment regarding our current board, and I've been with the organization for 16 years. And during that time, we have had some changes in the board, along with having consistency and tenure, which I believe is important. Again, specifically to your question, Mr. Sagar, our board works well, very well, and our board is very cohesive. Now, that's not to say that they don't have differences of opinion like any public body does, but they work very, very closely together. I can say as the chief administrator for the fire department, it is a very good relationship. We have many things that have been accomplished in recent years, and there's several things that we are right in the midst of working on, where from my perspective, our current board of trustees is going to be very critical. Fire station number 6, which was referenced a couple of times, that is a major project for our organization. We are just finishing up our long-range financial planning that we've been working on. Our strategic plan, as Chairman Althoff has mentioned. The training, there was a little bit of mention. We are working with the city of McHenry to purchase 3 acres for a training facility on the west side of McHenry, as well as our ongoing transition, which has been a pretty rapid one over the last 5 years, from what was the largest paid-on-call fire department in the state to where we are now fully a combination department where 2/3 of our personnel are career and 1/3 are part-time. So from my perspective as fire chief, because we're in the midst of all of those things, it lends itself to maintaining consistency within the board and maintaining that cohesiveness. And that's not, again, I'm being very careful to not make any statements regarding candidates, because I will work with whoever our trustees are. But does that help to answer that?
Yeah, it does, and I appreciate your forthrightness and your ability to very compassionately and diplomatically state that commentary. So thank you very much. I guess I would have one question for you, and that is, as you look at the board, and I don't mean this to be a negative thing, but I want to make sure that the board has a good relationship with you and with the employees. I think that's hugely important. And I want to make sure, however, that even though that relationship is foundational, I don't want on the board, and I don't think we should have on the board, and again, forgive me for saying this, but I'm just going to be open, yes men. I don't want people that just say yes to you. You know.
Ellen, that's really directed to you.
I mean, I think staff, again, should have a solid, positive, collaborative, constructive relationship working with employees. But I don't think that a board should necessarily just sit there and say yes to everything that comes forward.
I can answer that very, very specifically, and with my bosses in the room, that our board is absolutely not yes men. Our board, and I would say this whether they were present or not, our board has a very good relationship with the membership. From the standpoint of, there is a lot of concern about, and we don't even refer to them, we refer to them as members, not so much employees. And maybe that's an outgrowth of when we were a volunteer fire department. But I think our board works very hard to balance the needs of our membership with the other side, which they take extremely seriously, and that is their fiscal responsibility to the taxpayers. Our board is extremely supportive of the organization, of the members, as well as providing the service, and at the same time, if you were to attend one of our board meetings, you would see that they expect me as the fire chief and my staff that when we bring something forward, we're prepared, we've researched it, we've gotten multiple quotes, that we are prepared. There is no rubber stamp. I think that's the easiest way to put it. There's definitely no rubber stamp within the McHenry Township Fire District. And I have experience in the 16 years that I've been here, and I came from a large urban city to the south of here, that as long as you can prove those things to the board, and you can show how financially we can do these things, they have been extremely supportive of us.
And I'm going to add in that as much as you address the fact between staff and the members and the board, there is not a consensus all times with all the board members. And there is extraordinarily energetic conversations amongst the board members. I've been at those meetings, and so it's not everybody says yes all the time.
No.
There's true, candid conversations about different opinions and what direction, and there's a huge amount of respect between members themselves.
And I give a lot of credit to you and to the chair for that. You know, I think that has to be fostered. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
And so if I can just real quickly, so to make sure I was clear, when I say consensus, don't take that for a second as meaning that if I bring something forward, it's automatically yes, or they're all fine.
You were clear.
There is a lot of process, and at the end of the day, though, all 5 of those gentlemen bleed McHenry Township Fire District.
Is the best. That's what you want to say.
So rather than going to the whiteboard, I'm getting a feel. So was that a motion, Pat? Do you want to make it?
I'll make a motion to accept Joseph and Robert to continue on the board for the next,
3 years, April 30th, 2029. And is seconded by Ms. Van Hoff. Can we have a roll call, Kath?
Sauger.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Van Hoff.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Shorten.
Yes.
Altough.
Yes. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We really appreciate it. Moving on to the last deliberation of Harvard, I'll remind you, we're actually looking to, it'll be two separate motions. One will be to fill the vacancy for 3 years expiring on April 30th, 2029. The second motion will be to make a recommendation to the chair that in light of the information that has been presented, we would like to recommend another individual to fulfill Amy Crane's term through August 30th, 2027. Ms. Campbell.
Could we have a chief come up here?
Of course. John, can I ask you to come forward? But Ms. Campbell, did you have a question or did you have a comment?
No, we're going to do the two motions. We have three. I think that I was just going to go ahead in terms, because we have the two positions, to go ahead and just move that we reappoint Paul Hildreth to the position for the one.
And there's a second discussion? Roll call? And you got that, Kath, right? Okay.
Sauger.
Yes.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Campbell. Van Hoff.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Alta.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Chief Kimmel is here. Mr. Sagar, did you have a question with regard to the vacancy?
Yeah, I just want to get your perspective, if you have one, on what the board needs right now and how do you think that it can be most effectively accommodated?
I think both of the candidates, bring experience to the table, which the board needs. We have a very strong board right now, as you know, our history, and we struggled with that. And so I'm very happy with what we've accomplished. I think the board, they're forward thinking. If you look at the different things that we're doing with Murray and Harvard, as far as myself, we've also now increased that IGA to include the fire marshal from Murray to do plan reviews, because we're looking at other sources of revenue. So if we can start doing our own plan review for new buildings that come in, we'll be able to create revenue sources that way. And just getting out into the community, into those buildings, because the Harvard Fire Protection District's never done business inspections. It just, they didn't have the personnel for it. So being forward thinking and working with Marino, we have an IGA there. So supporting that model and moving forward, I think, is going to be one of our biggest challenges with the board. And then as new board members come in and kind of catching up and realizing everything that we've done and how we're moving forward, and how this is kind of setting a model for the rest of the county. That, hey, we can do these things, save our taxpayers money, be more efficient in our services that we're providing. So there's a lot of catch up there. So being involved, being understanding how we work and getting caught up once you get into that position is going to be a challenge.
Thank you.
Discussion, Mr. Sager.
No, I'm willing to make the motion.
Please.
I move that we appoint Brian, or recommend the appointment of Brian Knop. Was it Knop?
No, it's not.
Knop. Yeah. Based upon his enthusiasm and his gifts and talents that I think will help to forward the future of the Harvard Fire Protection System.
Is there a second to that motion? Ms. Campbell. Further discussion?
Ms.
Van Hoff.
I would just like to clarify. Now, we're talking about the term that's going to be
1 year.
The 1 year term.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Sullivan.
Yes.
Van Hoff.
Yes.
Sauger.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Horton.
Yes.
Alta.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Chief. And can I ask, on behalf of this committee, can you really take back to the Harvard board and tell them, kudos from all of us? It has been a remarkable experience to watch that complete turnaround and where you're headed. It was a large challenge. It really was. And I commend all of them for picking up that mantle and moving forward. It was big.
And kudos to you.
Absolutely.
You've got a dual duty there, but you're doing a remarkable job of oversight in that.
Thank you. I'm pretty proud of the fact that one of the candidates brought that we just ordered a new engine, brand new engine. It's the first time we've done that in 20 years. It's great. We got the money and did some saving over the last 3 years.
Well, that referendum, after the failure and your efforts to pull that, again, I watched that from afar and it was remarkable.
So for perspective, how much was it?
1.2 million. I can tell you, it's very similar to the one Murgo ordered and took delivery of 2 years ago. We paid $627. It's doubled in 3
Yeah,
years.
so that's what I wanted to put out there, is perspective on what this is costing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other business, good for the order? I'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh, one, you have?
No, move to adjourn.
Carolyn, seconded by Mr. Sullivan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Trying to make it fast.
Thank you.
Look at that, will you look at that?
Thank you very much.